So any questions on that, or did I go over it too quick, or?
What's your thinking when you said you use screen pan covers out of state, but at home you're not using them?
It's real, the dirt out there, it's real fine, and I just want something over there, just over the screen, just to give me, or just over the pan, just to give me a little bit of protection. That's really the only reason I do it out there. Okay, baby. I don't have like I guess a rhyme to that reason.
Well, if you don't need them, they're just a pain in the butt. But.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it gives me more confidence. So, and it's super quick when you're out there. With that screen, I don't just set the screen on top of it. I cut slits in the screen and slide it through the pan. I've noticed whenever you set screen, you just set it on top, and if you don't have it tucked in under the jaws or something and they hit one side, it will rock that screen. So it's kind of like you have a not properly bedded trap, because they're going, they see the wiggle. So I like to have those two slits in there, and that kind of gives it a little bit more stability when it's setting on the pan, and it doesn't rock back and forth. The other set that I like to do, it's just a big blown out trench set. So I don't really care to have a backing. If you have a backing, that's great. If you don't need one. This does the job. So say we were going to set right here. Well, I would already have this ready to rock and roll. And what I do is I kind of take my mattock and I V out a spot like that. And that's just kind of, I don't do it anymore, but to show you, that's just kind of how I do it. Can you guys see? And then I just going to come back.
Okay.
Hold on, baby. You go dig one over there. And I just start off by digging a bed. And you might say, wow, that's really deep. But the reason I don't use a backing is because I'll come down about right there. So if you can see, this is sitting way lower than what this is. And this is just called like the lip or the diving board, or however you want to present it. And then you can take a punch, and you can either punch a hole, take your pick mattock, swing it in there, and get a good hole. Hey, baby, can I have that? Thank you. Or you can use something like this, and I use this quite a bit. And then so I just dig out my hole, and then that's how it sets. Can you guys see that? Yay, nay?
Yeah. You don't need that big mound of dirt. You need that there?
No, I won't. I mean, you can, but I won't. Hey, Vivian. No. You little booger. So I'll have that hole just like that. And before I go kind of too far into this, say for some reason you have a catch here and it just blows it all up. But you don't want to pull the trap. You kind of want to leave it and keep it rocking. But your whole hole and everything is just tore up. I mean, you've seen them where it's just a huge dig. But everything on that side is still looking good. What I will do is I'll take all that dirt, pull it back over this way, cover this up, and then I will just dig another hole on that side. And so anyways, I always set it in like that. Every set, sweat, same way. So if this is all screwed up, I can pull all this back over, I can dig my hole right there, and I still got it going. Yeah, you're going to probably be off on the wind, but I'd rather have the trap working than not set at all. So Another thing is, you're going to say, well, this is probably going to fill up with a crap ton of water. And it can, yeah, it can. I carry these gloves with me. They just go right up to about my forearm, and I will slop everything out of this. And it'll still be a little wet, and I'll just put a little bit of peat moss down. And this hole is going to be completely filled. So what I'll do is just take some fescue, and I'll take a glob of bait, and then I'll just set it, you know, something like that. So you still got the smells and everything. You're slopped out. You're still kind of operational, even though your hole's plugged. And I've caught them when the hole was plugged and didn't do any of this. I've also taken and put a pipe in there. So just stuff to keep me going. And then, especially when it's raining or freezing thaw, I use a lot of grass covering. I have a lot of bags full of grass. Let me try and get this somewhat decent. All right, good job, babe. Now, whenever I have this bowled out right here, honey, can I have that? What I'll do is I'll put my stake. I'll have my stake go straight down. I don't hook it one way or the other way. I just have it go straight down. So, and then once my stake's in the ground, I will just take just the butt of my hammer and I will hit it just to smash that down and give me kind of like a little indent so this D-ring can sit in there nicely. And then I'm pressing that down. And what I'm doing is I'm pressing down and pushing into that lip or diving board. And that kind of gives you a little bit of a more stability. And then it's just peat moss over the trap, and then you just cover it.
So it's not like that. You would just set this in and just
If you have good soil, no. Like out west, I don't really carry a sifter. But here at home, I will sift it. Or like I said, I have these made up where I'll put peat moss. So now if it freezes, that's dry dirt. It's not wax dirt, it's just dry dirt. I don't make wax dirt. I just think it's too cumbersome to do. Yeah, it has its purpose, and it definitely, you know, can do a good job for a lot of folks, but I just don't do it. And then I just kind of set it like that, and then I don't use a broom. If I get caught, that's my own fault. And then I guide. I like to guide on where the dog side would be. I like to guide up here. And then just to the side, it's kind of like and it looks really, really elementary, but it works. And it works well. Those are really the sets that I use. And like I said, it's just a variation of a flat set. You can just put a trap bed in, and then you can take whatever you want. If it's a stump, whatever floats your boat. It's your trap line. You know, set it how you want to set it.
So how are you dispatching?
I've done a lot of ways. I have shot them in the lung. I like to use 22 shorts if I'm going to do any of that. I've shot them in the head.
That in the lung? Do you use 22 short in the lung?
Yes, sir. Hollow point, and it does a good job for me. I've tapped them in the nose. I've throated them. I've tried stomping them. I never got the stomping thing down, but I've used the choke poles. I even made up my own little makeshift choker, which was just two of these with a snare going through it. And this was like the terminal end, and then the other piece of this slid freely with washers. And so what I would do is I'd tap them in the nose, hook that loop around them, drop what the other part would be, hold this, stand on that, and then just deadlift it pretty much. And yeah, it works. That works very well. And then you can take these, and if you have a truck,
So you can tap them in the nose, you can knock them out pretty easy like a fox, or
yeah,
really?
yeah, I've never had any issues. I mean, as long as you can get them. I know sometimes they'll be fighting, and so, but no, I've never. I mean, yeah, I've ran around with them in a circle before, and that's when I just say, all right, I'm shooting you. I can't. I don't got time for this.
Is that part of your cardio, keeping shape?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to do everything very simple. At least I think it's simple. Some people, some of you guys that have trapped numbers.
You get all that blood when you skin them, you get down to the head, you know, you got all that. And your hide bloody, the skin bloody, red.
No, and if they do have a little bit of blood on them, I just spot wash them with a little bit of peroxide solution, and then I toss them in the tumbler, and the tumbler will take most of that out.
What do you put in the tumbler with it?
Just like a sawdust medium,
Sawdust?
and then I put a little bit of borax in with it, and then I also do corn cobs. I like, well, either half or a third of corn cob, not grit, the actual cob.
You tumble them when they're dry, or before?
If they're dry, I'm tumbling. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to tumble them just to fluff them up, see what I'm working with. I feel like I get a better look at them. But if it's kind of on the fence, I'll just fluff it up and see what I'm working with. But what I was saying with the corn cob, I leave those kind of in chunks. That way, whenever it's spinning around, it kind of beats the pelts a little bit.
So those tumblers, are they made commercially, or
I think people do make them. A couple gentlemen from Ohio made this one, and the only issue I've ever had was I had to replace a bearing on it. That was a quick fix. I've used a lot of different bait. I've used lure. I don't like beaver meat bait. Some of my buddies love it. I like bobcat meat. I don't really run a lot of lures. I will when I'm on like my work line, but on my vacation line I just run bait and urine. It's quick. I have them both right here. Slap it in there. I take my bait, put it on my, and then I just go in there and I just kind of wallet it around, pull it out. I'm not a big believer on taking grass and balling it up and tossing it in the hole. I've had way too many times where I've came in and I've seen birds or crows come in, peck that out, and then it's sitting on top of my trap bed. So what I'll do is something like this. I'll just throw it down the hole right over top of that bait. And I feel like that's something a little bit more for them to have to work and get out.
you're using a commercial bait, right?
I make a bait and I use it. Yeah. But I've used Tobin's bait. I've used Marty Smith's bait. I've used Cletus's bait, and I mean, all those are top quality in my opinion. So, like I said, throw that in the hole, and then I take my squirt and just squirt right on top of that and go. I will say that whenever I'm running, and I'm running a vacation line, I'm not really pulling traps and switching out to different farms. I'm just trying to set at least 12 traps extra a day. So if I can go, like this year, I went out and I had all my presets done, and I was able to start super early in the morning, and I went till dark, and I was able to set 101 sets because I got into it with a leasee on this farm ground, and I just said, screw this, it's not worth my time. I'm not going to sit here. I'm just going to keep going. So like daily hurdles is something that I face. I don't know if you guys have ever faced those, just every day something's coming up, or maybe not every day, but you know, on that line something's coming up and it's a pain in the butt.
Are you okay? Do you make catches? The first day check?
Yeah.
You make catches?
Yeah, I have. I've had days where I've caught 3 or 1. I've had days where I've caught 12. And that's just on my home line, running that solo. So, you know, I caught 14 canine in one day. And that was the second day I checked. The first day I caught 6 coyotes. I don't catch a bunch of non-targets, but I can't say I don't ever catch them because I do. But I like to set away from the woods. I like to set away from where I think the non-targets are going to be. So if, you know, this concrete right here is a tree line, I'm going to be setting over there. Especially like if a gravity wagon or a grain cart comes through and beats down the corn or the bean. Because if you watch dogs, or you ever pay attention to your dog, my dog doesn't like to walk in the gravel. He will walk in the gravel. My dog doesn't like to walk in the bean stubble, but he will. But if he finds that mashed down grain, he'll take that a lot easier than. So just stuff like that. And like I said, if this is the tree line, yeah, you could snare this. And maybe when I run a mixed bag this year, that's what I'll do. I'll pop out some snares or some dog proofs, and then set out and set some canines for some canines. Or there's a lot of culverts I drive over, a lot of bridges I drive over that I'd never set. And so I can run my canine line, because I'll start like the 20th of October. I can run that, and then once I'm done doing that, instead of adding 12 traps every day to my canine line, I can start adding 12 or more traps to my water line and getting them preset and ready. So it's kind of like a trade-off, a switch from one to the other. And I'm hoping it pays. I'm hoping it pays off. But if it does, I'm going to be screwed, because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to skin them. And
The skins are okay at 20th of October. How it's skinned, do you?
and this, yeah, in my opinion, yes, they are.
They're okay. I mean, they're prime and they're good shape.
You said okay. You didn't say prime.
Well,
So yes, in my opinion, yes, they are they do very well. Are they as prime as what they could be? No, no. But you caught 3 coyotes, and you had a 66% loss on your coyotes. Yeah, two of them were crap, because you caught them late in the year when they were rubbed, broke down. They've been freezing to the ground. They've been having hair pulled out. They're getting in fights. And when you're catching those coyotes in December or January, do you know how many coyotes have already died before then? Because people are starting to trap early on. And you're gonna see a lot better overall average on your pelts. They might not be primo primes, but they look damn good to me.
it's a whole lot more pleasant trapping in October than December.
It is. Yeah, and December's always been a weird month for me. I always kind of just don't really trap for canines in December. I'll run a work line, but I'm not trying to take my vacation during that time. Anything else? Anything I missed? Anything you want to nitpick me on?
Back on shooting them, I found that I don't shoot them,
Right.
but I found out the subsonic
Yeah.
fragmented CCIs were pretty good. You shoot them in the lungs,
Right.
they just blow up inside their lungs and they're dead.
Yeah.
And they work good on skunks too. You don't want to have an extra hole on them.
Right. And I use a lot of those shorts, and I haven't used a fragmenter.
They're like 1,000 feet a second.
Okay.
Subsonic they call it. They don't make much noise and they break apart real easy.
Okay. Yeah, well, kind of touching on that, I don't have a lot of blood when I lung shoot them. I have some blood, but I don't have, and then whenever I'm going to skin them, it's just, you just gotta have to deal with it if you're gonna lung shoot them or head shoot them. If you don't want blood, you're gonna have to figure out a way to negate that.
One of those real fine fur brushes, once the blood dries,
Yep.
you can brush almost 100% of it out.
And something else that I do whenever I'm finishing my pelts, and I could do a whole topic on this really, but whenever you're finishing your pelts and you got them, instead of brush beating them or brushing them and not really knowing how to brush them, you can take a leaf blower and just hold them at either the base of the tail or have them hanging up, and just turn that leaf blower on, and that'll fluff the fur up, and you can thank me next year. Vivian's caught a bobcat and a coyote. Yep. And she's caught some raccoon, but we're going to try and catch some more stuff this year, aren't we, babe?